My dear friends, do you have house guests for the holidays that hate Christmas movies, but you want to get some of that St. Nicholas jingle into them? Say they like James Bond movies or Quentin Tarantino flicks. Well, I've got the movie for you, and that would be 2020's Fatman with Mel Gibson. There is a lot to this movie, and I highly recommend it. On a recent Screen Rant pitch meeting video, Ryan George made fun of Christmas movies being completely formulaic, entirely predictable all along the way, and Fatman does not fall for those tropes. The ubiquitous parts about Christmas and the movies that go with it, the movie touches on obliquely, usually with a humorous nod, and the humor does land. No, this is more of a comic book style movie, kind of like the Kingsman series, where all the characters are more pronounced, everything's a little bit more intense, the movie moves along fast, and we actually do get some really dynamite performances. Mel Gibson is good as always as Kris Kringle. And boy, does he nail the mood of a disillusioned, embittered small business owner that things are not going well. It's a bit depressing because I know some people like that. And to see Santa Claus, a source of joy for hundreds of millions or billions of people around the world, having to deal with that kind of emotional conflict, that's tough, man. There's his wife, Ruth Kringle, and we'll deal with her in a minute. The snot-nosed rich kid that kicks off the plot of the movie, and Walton Goggins. Holy cow, Walton Goggins. This guy electrifies the screen every time he's on it. I can see why he's getting a lot of love on the internet these days for some of his more recent roles, because he is just bam, hitting it every time. And before I fanboy any more about that guy, let me give you a quick rundown of what's going on here. So Santa's disillusioned over the Christmas season not being as robust and universal as it used to be, as more people don't care, and the children are worse and worse. The good little kids, he and his elves do make presents for, and he delivers to personally. Sometimes he gets shot by drunks and weirdos as he flies overhead. And for the bad kids, he does give them coal, which triggers evil Richie Rich to hire a hitman, played by Walton Goggins, to go after Santa. Now, this isn't an easy task because Kris Kringle's address is off the books. He goes into a post office to pick up his mail. He doesn't let people know about it. So a lot of the movie is actually Walton Goggins' assassin character doing a Day of the Jackal-esque prep mission to hunt down Kris Kringle. And it feels like its own movie. The soundtrack's different, lighting's different, and honestly, give this guy his own Bond movie or something like that because he could carry it. I was incredibly impressed with him. And then when he finally does hunt down Santa, the standoff between Mel Gibson and Walton Goggins, this is for the ages, buddy. And the movie is very grounded. While there are elves in it, and they are a bit different from normal humans, there's a lot left to the imagination, which I appreciate. And it is dark. All along the way, there are scenes where in any other movie, this would be a harrowing or frightening scene. But because of who the characters are that are involved in it, there's an absurdity to it to where it becomes very darkly comedic. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Ruth Kringle, why is she black? Why is she from London? I don't know, because there have been Mrs. Claus, none of which were named Ruth, the best I could tell, and none of them were black, best I could tell. Now, if Kris Kringle had a black homie named Pete, I would totally understand that. My Dutch bros know what I'm talking about, because Black Pete is a thing. But I could look past that. I could easily look past the fact that one of these things is not like the other, and one of these things isn't associated with any of the mythology about the guy. If she could act, she was terrible. She was bland, delivered every line with the same pitch, intensity, and tempo as every other line. And lady, you're in a scene with Mel Gibson, one of the best actors of our age or of any age of the silver screen. And every line you deliver is an empty saccharine platitude. Come on. I did a little bit of Googling, couldn't find out why she is, how she is, or why her name is Ruth, and I sat through this horrible 3-minute gush fest from the writers of the movie about her, and I still don't understand, and she didn't hurt the movie, but she didn't help it at all. But Mel Gibson delivers as always, and Walton Goggins, I'm a new fan. I thoroughly enjoyed it, so for the bah humbug in your family, you want to get and watch a Santa movie? Put in Fatman.